Today we've got Josh Kemble. Not only is he from a band that you may have heard of called Dogwood, but more importantly, and maybe more famously, the lead singer of an incredible band called The Undertaking. A lot of people might think that they know who The Undertaking is because of like this guy named Austin Visser, but it really is actually it's you, Josh, that is like the true voice of The Undertaking, right?
I mean, I guess you're outing me right now, but yeah, it's kind of like a Wizard of Oz situation. So I'm like, I just kind of sit here in this desk chair and I send all this stuff to Austin, and he kind of, I guess, does my evil bidding, and every once in a while I'll just like show up and maybe do a couple seconds on stage, and like, I'm out of here. You got the rest. You're good. Okay. So it's kind of like a sous chef situation.
Yeah, was it
Um,
was that like was that the recent situation when you just show up and play All My Friends Are Scavengers with The
yeah,
Undertaking or what?
yeah. So like people might be more familiar with Austin's face. He's got great hair. So I'm
He's
just like, you know
tall.
what? You got
Yeah.
this. I think you got this. And I'm gonna step back a little bit and just kind of give you the glory.
Is
So
this like a Paul is dead kind of situation? Like a
this is
like a Paul
yeah.
McCartney? Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to. It's experiment. It's an experiment. Yeah. So don't tell Brandon, but yeah. Austin's actually not in the band.
I love it. You know, uh being San Diego boys, I feel like you guys would get along pretty well. You and
Um, Austin, yeah, I met
yeah, you
him
and
one
Austin.
time. We just kind of like they butted heads like a couple of young Rams on stage a couple of weeks ago.
Are you tall enough to butt his head?
Oh yeah, we butt heads, we butt butts,
Okay.
everything. It's just a lot of butting,
Butts.
a lot of butting, and yeah, just a good old button fest. Um, and it was a good time. But I got tired. I'm old. I got tired. I got off stage. I said, Can you finish the set for me?" He's like, "I got you,"
I love it.
and they did it. And so I think I might retire from the band and just, let him have it.
That'd be a good call. You gotta let the young bucks have a chance every once
They're
in a
on
while.
fire. He's got momentum. He's got vigor.
Yeah,
He's got all the energy that I had when I was like, starting the band. So
yeah.
starting another different band. So yeah,
They got a new song out. Everything's going well for him right now. So
exactly. Oh, is this the Undertaking podcast?
this is not the Undertaking podcast, but
You lied to me.
just helping me out.
So yeah, so that's happening. So yeah, they'll look for the Undertaking exclamation mark.
Yeah,
Exclamation mark. That's right.
Don't forget.
can't forget it.
We love. We
So what
love
have you been up
our
to these days, huh?
punctuation.
Me?
You've got
You're
a
talking
lot
Mason?
going on. You
Me?
got no, not Mason. I know what Mason's doing. What have you got going on? You got a lot of irons in the fire all the time. It feels like.
I
So
do. Almost. I have 5 irons.
are they
Are they
frenzied?
frenzying?
Okay. Yeah, I do. I stay busy. Lots of cooking in the chef life, in the chef world. There's a lot of cooking going on. Making a lot of hot sauces and doing some collabs and stuff like that. A lot of stuff in the works. There's some rumors about maybe a collaborative Dogwood hot sauce coming up soon in the near future.
Ooh.
We'll get to that. That's just a little.
Okay.
In the industry, we call that a teaser.
I have been thoroughly teased. All right.
All right, next topic. No, but in the podcast, I kind of like got so busy cooking that I couldn't always do the podcast stuff like on a weekly basis or a regular basis. So I'd be going on other people's shows, like for example, or doing IG live or doing some recasting or whatever. So now that I've had some announcements to make. I'll be gathering some friends and folks to talk about future plans and revamping it, basically redoing it. So but mainly talking about the road to Furnace Fest, or like, how do I know you, how do we met, and really kind of giving it some more time. So
Cool.
that's for the family cast. And then yeah, maybe some pickleball here and there.
Nice.
You are that old. Good grief.
Hey, dude, there's 4-year-olds on the court.
I do like how pickleball has completely taken over like a very specific generation.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be
the-
at Furnace Fest this year.
I mean, it almost certainly will be.
We Furnace Fest is getting into that demographic at this point where it's not just the people at Furnace Fest, they're getting older, and that's
So it's a demographic.
pickleball is all they can do.
Well, I try to do other things too, but like it's just it's a thing that we can do with the community. And I pass out my business cards for the food trucks and stuff. So, it's just like a place to go. Kind of like Cheers.
I was even at a brewery. No, it's a cidery in Minneapolis about a month or so ago, and walk into this cidery, and they've got like just whatever kind of food that they got, and then they got all their ciders, and of course now they've got all their THC stuff too. But
Of
in
course.
like the back of everything, where you can just see where all the ciders are being made. They just got a massive pickleball court, and just people are playing pickleball now in the middle of where people are trying to work to make their cider.
In a
I'm
THC
just like,
cidery.
this is how like pickleball is just like taking over everything, including cideries.
There's going to be like, I mean, not to bring church into it, but yes, to bring church into it. There's going to be churches built around pickleball stuff, right?
Oh yeah, like back in the day, it was all basketball. Every church had a
Yeah,
basketball court
right.
inside, and now they
Now,
also are going to have a
mhm,
pickleball court. You're right.
yeah. So that's the next wave of the future. So, anyways, that's enough pickleball talk because I suck at it, but it's fun. Whatever, Mason. I don't care what you think.
It's big ping pong. Big ping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's big ping pong.
Full size. Okay, music. Yeah, so just been doing some stuff with that with other people.
Yeah.
Other people like wanting to put out, hey, you want to sing on this, or I have a part that you might want to do, or can you help me write this, or can you record something? So I've always been trying to continue doing that so that I wouldn't just kind of let that fall by the wayside. Keep that handy, keep that active.
I mean, you got a nice microphone. You might as well, make use of it. Other
I
than
got a
podcasting.
mic. Yeah. I got all kinds of microphones, baby. This is just one of them, Mason. This is just one.
Do you have 2 turntables as well?
Absolutely. I got a great turntable collection.
Gotta have 2 turntables and a
I mean,
microphone.
are you referencing a Beck sample?
I am referencing the Beck sample.
Good. I have that record. No, but like, it's just, it feels kind of shitty to have equipment and not use it.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, like if I see my microphone not being used, I'm like, I'm sorry, baby. Or if I see like
Do you
keep,
talk to your microphones? Not
maybe
just into them, but
maybe.
talk to them?
Yeah,
As sentient
not
creatures?
just into the mic, just to the mic. I wake up in the middle of the night, get out of bed, see how she's doing. No, but we keep musical instruments all over the house too. So I feel guilty if I don't like kind of actively play the piano or play the ukulele or the guitar or whatever's lying around the house. My daughter has an acoustic bass. Someone gave her an acoustic bass. I'm like, okay, and I guess I have to play acoustic bass now. Can't just let that sit there.
I like that relationship though with the musical instruments in your life. That's
Well,
there's I feel like you might have some like workaholicness to you.
It's more like Catholic guilt. I think that because one thing I don't really want to shout out other people's podcasts while I'm on this one, but somebody
Go ahead.
No, fuck them. We were just kidding. We were on somebody was reviewing our old records, and they got deep. They went deep into the theology of some of my lyrics, because so basically just
like deeper than what you would have gotten into the theology of your lyrics. That's when it's always really funny. Where it's like,
almost
you're taking this way more than what I even was putting into it.
Exactly. So it's like almost like when a white girl is so woke that they're like Bill Burr says like they're so woke that they're like anti everything and against everybody or what, something like that or whatever. It's like they're so woke that they're not helping anyone and they're making everybody bad or whatever. Anyways, I was always writing from a perspective. I was always writing from perspectives. Like, here's a perspective, here's a discussion, here's a question, here's an answer. It was never like necessarily pointing fingers or like condemnation of ideas or whatever. It was in a sense, but I was all like, I have these questions and I have a platform and a microphone to, put these questions out to the world or the universe or the multiverse, whatever, to everybody, to God, but through these questions and answers, I'm talking to another person through this song, or I'm writing for another person. They asked me to write some stuff for them or whatever. And then I put it on record, and then it goes on record and it's the band's song. And now other people interpret it and they say like, okay, here's the problem with these lyrics, or here's the problem with this song. And I got it from everybody. Like even when I wrote it, like even my wife's grandpa tried to write down all my lyrics and show them to like his pastor, and is like, this guy's writing songs about the church. I was like, no, I have questions and I'm hoping someone can help me answer these questions. And so this other show was like, here, we're gonna bring on a theology doctor to like talk about this song, and here's why
Whoa.
it's wrong. Like it got deep. It got deep, and I was very discouraged.
They said
And
this is why it's wrong.
they're like, this is the problem with these lyrics. This is the problem with this song, or this form of Christianity, or whatever. It's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, see, this is why people leave the church, because you're like telling them that they're wrong of how they believe or how they want to perceive things or believe or follow or whatever. So I'm like, okay, this is bad. But
or when we take 25-year-olds way too seriously and what they have
that
to say.
too. And I wrote, but this is stuff I wrote when I was 16, 17.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Even before then.
Even
Yeah.
This is the problem when I mean, if somebody took whatever I said at 16 and was even like criticizing it to this day, I'd be like, I was 16, damn it.
Well,
That's
that's
how
what I'm saying.
I judge
what?
Mason off his 16-year-old self all the time. Still.
Yeah, I'm like, what in the world?
So this is before college. This is before degrees. This is before
Right.
learning. This is before I
Yeah.
even read books. Like,
Yeah.
So I'm
You were
writing
still
stuff.
learning how to read.
Well, I'm talking about, or a girl comes to me and says, "Hey, can you help me answer this question about, I got pregnant as a teenager, and what should I do with the kid, or blah blah blah." I'm like, I guess I could write a song about that. I'm using your voice, and then to turn into like, oh, I'm tired of men talking about blah blah blah. I'm like, oh my god, I can't get it right with these people. So that goes back to what were we talking about? Pickleball? No.
Oh, we were talking about the lyrical content and stuff like that, and how it's been
Yes.
misconstrued at times,
Yes.
or
So
people are trying to tell you that your art isn't correct, which
Well,
I think
yeah.
is just like antithetical to self-expression and art in general.
or to art is like, hey, let me put out a survey. What do you guys think I should write in my lyrics? You tell me. I'll do whatever you say. It's gonna be perfect because it's your thoughts, not mine, or something. Or
Yeah.
there's a reason that I like being the Black Sheep, being on the podcast, because or HM or whatever, is because that's always been kind of like edge or fringe or whatever, according to like the middle part of the church or Christianity. It's like, and I kind of feel that way about how I feel that the band was like that. But we kind of catered to the broad spectrum of churchiology or whatever for across, when we toured the US or whatever. It's like we hit a lot of different denominational churches and stuff like that, and non-churches and clubs and stuff. But it's like people cling to whatever they want. It's kind of like cherry picking out of scripture or theology or whatever. It's like, I like this, but you said this, so I don't like that. So now your band is no longer awesome to me or whatever. People are fun. People are fun,
Yeah.
fun and funky, as
Yeah.
Mason can attest to online.
I mean, literally just a few minutes ago, I had a guy, before we started recording, I had a guy that was like, yeah, I'm a convicted felon. I did an armed robbery, and here's all the reasons why you're totally wrong. And I'm like,
What?
like, you were convicted of armed robbery. Like, like, I mean, to his credit, he gave me his like entire, like, this is my name, this is where I live. So I'm like, I just like start looking up this guy. I'm like, oh my God, like just the things that some people are willing to tell me.
It gets better. We have another guy that keeps trying to convince Mason and I that we're gay lovers.
Yeah, like that. Cullen and I are gay, and I'm like, wow. I've still never seen. Cullen and I have been best friends for over 15 years. I've still never seen his dick, and
and vice versa.
and vice versa. And I'm just like, at some point this is gonna happen. But like, I like one of my like I know a lot of gay people. And one of the first things you know about a gay person is that the fact that they like, if they have a gay lover, they find out about that person's dick really quickly.
I would imagine, yeah.
It doesn't usually take over 15 years.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should just stop spooning. I mean, maybe that's why.
Sure.
You've never seen it.
But also this commentary,
face each other now.
This commentary, this person that's trying to convince you. That's what I was saying about. That's exactly what I was saying about the person who is
exactly
like telling me about my songs, or like the person who is so like right that everybody else is wrong, or about the Bill Burr thing with the woke white chicks and stuff. This was his SNL monologue. This is not just, I'm not just pulling it out of the air. It's like, it's
Yeah,
out
no,
there for
I've
the
seen
world
it
to see.
before. I've seen
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's good. It's good.
It was brilliant. I could see why he would get flack for it, but he was not wrong, So
Mhm.
but nowadays, if I have an opinion on something like that, somebody is going to attack me for my opinion, whether it's from anywhere, from any direction. So
right.
I'm too centrist. I'm too left. I'm too right. I'm too Jesus-y, not Jesus-y enough. It's the classic thing. I can't
Yeah.
please everybody. So I am just Josh. Here I am. What's the next question? Let's go.
I thought you were gonna say I'm Ken, like from the Barbie movie.
You
I
you
still
are
haven't,
Josh enough. You
I
are
still
Josh
haven't seen
enough.
it. I am Josh enough. Thank you. I should put that on the shirts on at Furnace Fest. That's it. That's all the shirts say.
I am Josh.
The new Dogwood shirt. Yeah, where it's just like spoof the whole like I'm Ken enough, but it just says I'm Josh enough. That like
Yeah,
I'm sure you guys would sell that out.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I am also positive that there is a majority of fans out there that would take offense that we had something from the Barbie movie on the shirts, and I'd be like, oh my god. Me personally, I'd be like, well, then you're not really our fan because you don't really know
Right.
me. But they'd be like, something church, something religion, something rainbow flags, you know, something
Does it
something pride
really?
month.
Does it really bother you that like the Christian moniker was always put on you guys, and in part, I mean, I think you guys embraced it to a certain extent, but also rejected it to a certain extent, right? Does it bother you to this day
Uh,
that some of that more legalistic kind of BS kind of creeps its way in, or the opposite, like the super liberal Christians kind of have their way with you too?
have their way. Wow.
Yeah,
I think it's a I think it's a very nebulous question because I think that like I said, when I started writing the songs, I had already started with questioning and challenging, and the questions that people would honestly come to start to use in the early 2000s for deconstruction and stuff like that is what I was already putting in the songs
Right.
on labels that were in family Christian bookstores and stuff like that,
hmm
and us coming from the youth group culture, and I mean not even the youth group culture, we were in youth groups. That's where we were. We came from youth groups. We all came from the church and started the band. That was our life experience. So it's not that I regret that. I don't really regret that part of my life because I know still a lot of those people that have always taken care of us in the band and taken care of me personally and my family, stuff like that. There's a lot of dark, nasty, bad stuff that happened in that church or the churches we were in, all of us, where the band came from. But there's still also a lot of good. So
hmm
like I can't take that away. It's still kind of the fabric of me personally and my marriage and my family and my life. It all came from that scene, right? I met my wife at one of my concerts, you know. Um, I met a ton of my friends, and I still have a lot of those friends. So like I can't really negate that. And I think I think the problem with it is sometimes some of the fans haven't really moved on out of that realization or that culture or that
Sure.
stuff, which
Mhm.
and they might be in a great church that's doing great things for the community and loves everybody. They might be like awesome people, and I can't fault them for that. And the only problem that I've seen with it so far is I remember sometime in like 2006, I said something about like a labor strike or a labor boycott in San Diego for like, migrant farm workers, and a ton of fans like came at me and boycotted us for saying anything about taking a stand with these migrant farm workers for their rights. And I was like, "Hey, we should help them out. We should I was saying something good like, "Hey," I wasn't like, "Oh my gosh, I'm totally like anti this or anti government or blah blah, but me, I'm a punk and
I was
don't
gonna
stand
say.
I don't stand for I always stand for government values or even Christian church rules or whatever. I'm going to try to push and push and push and push and maybe break some rules to get things done, and I stand for human values and human lives and stuff like that. So and that goes anything from that small to like typing something on MySpace about maybe a 1 day support for migrant farm workers, all the way to nowadays saying like I support this or don't support this, or I repost your story and it's up there for 24 hours and then it's gone. And then somebody's like, oh, or whatever, it's like people are looking for something to, well, I feel this. People are looking for something to strike at me or attack me about something. If it's regarding the band or my political stance or my non-political stance or my religion or my non-religion or whatever. And I'm like, man, the whole time I've been in the band, I've just been trying to like help myself and others who think like me answer some questions about their beliefs and how we are supposed to live and help others or not. And, support our government or country or whatever, or not, but really it's about like living and being nice, decent human beings, because that's kind of the main story of the Bible is here's a bunch of bad people, here's one good guy, and here everybody else sucks. And if you follow this good guy, then you're going to do good things if you follow these teachings and blah blah blah. So like that's all I try to do is I keep it really simple. And I feel like there's like a black and white binary world in politics, religion, the church is specifically very black and white, but I live in the gray. I live in full color, baby. There's so much stuff. It's not just about, this or that. Choose this, yes or no, boom, one or two. It's like, what about all the other stuff?
Josh, let me tell you why you're wrong, actually.
Thank you, please.
I'm just joking.
I mean, no, convince me why that's bad.
It's not bad at all. That's why it doesn't make sense.
So here's what's interesting with this conversation is, so Josh, I actually just submitted a paper so there's this big academic conference of like religion scholars, and I got a paper accepted a couple months ago for this conference, and it's the 30th anniversary this year of Tooth and Nail Records. And so there were a few of us people that were, in the scholar world or whatever, like the religion scholar world, that grew up Tooth and Nail fans. And so we submitted this like panel of each one of us doing this paper for the music and religion unit of this big academic conference, and it got accepted. So like all of a sudden now, a couple months ago, I realized, all right, well, I submitted this proposal. This means I actually have to write this damn paper. So anyway, my paper is going to be about how alternative music, punk, hardcore, metal, all of these different forms of alternative music have shaped the religious kind of deconstruction, if you will, of bands that were in the Tooth and Nail world. That's not to say that every artist that was in Tooth and Nail has gone through that journey or anything. But what it does, basically sort of my argument in the paper is that in contrast to more like CCM artists, we see a higher prevalence of artists that were in the Tooth and Nail world who quote unquote religiously deconstructed from their conservative evangelical faith. And so one of my there's probably a variety of different factors of why that is the case, but one of my arguments is that there are elements to alternative music that have influenced that. So that's the fact that they were in alternative music itself in comparison to their CCM counterparts who were in worship and pop music and more mainstream kind of genres. The music itself had some sort of influence on why these artists deconstructed in the way that they did. And basically what you're like saying is like just confirmation of what I've done in this research in this paper is like the ethics of punk, the sort of like like that is a massive part of like your own journey and what you were influenced by, especially in those early days. Whether those punk influences were explicitly Christian or not, you were influenced by them. And even though you came out of like the Christian world and were in this like quote unquote Christian music scene, you were still influenced by these punk influences. And at the end of the day, a lot of those influences kind of take over some of these, or they sort of overcome some of these influences from the more authoritarian and side of like evangelical Christianity and whatnot. So anyway, like what you're describing here, I'm like, oh my God, like this is just like all confirmation to the paper I just wrote.
Okay. I want to read it. Or are you saying that I helped write this paper? Wow. Okay.
Basically.
I have a master's by proxy. I think that like I said earlier, I think that maybe we were thinking these things before deconstruction was the actual word given to what we were thinking.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
called it backsliding back then, right?
In some ways, yes, or like
That's true.
heathenism, or
Yeah.
secular thoughts, or
Or
anyway,
witchcraft.
perverse, or Wiccan, or like there's all these things that Christians, at least from I was in a what's it, non-denominational Calvary Chapel style, or it was Calvary Chapel. It was non-denominational West Coast hippie church where all the bands kind of popped out of in Southern California, right? From the Tooth and Nail scene or whatever, a lot of them. And I think that it's the history of that church in particular. Like there's been documentaries and movies about the invention of this church and stuff like that. It was created, or it was founded on like the principle that God is for everybody. Like you don't need education, you don't need to have questions and answers. It's like Jesus is the way, and um, the Bible says this. It's that here's the answer. So they created this black and white binary system, even though it was very simple. It was seeker friendly. It was not really like totally evangelical. Like there was no like deep theology or high church or speaking in tongues or anything like that. It was just like, man, you're a sinner, I'm a sinner. Let's get together and go to heaven, kind of thing. So it's like very accessible for everybody, which is cool. It's fine, whatever. But in that, and this is no shade on anybody, but there's less like research and education and like scientific study and like all this kind of stuff about there's so much more to Jesus. I feel like in my own personal journey than just the Bible. And that's going to rub some people the wrong way, but I've experienced Jesus in real life, in families, in culture, in community, in music, in secular music, in Christian music, and all this other stuff in different ways, I think, than the church can teach you. If that makes sense. Like
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're living it, or I've seen people living it, and I still have really great relationships with a lot of people that I grew up with in that community, in that church. People that still take care of me and my family in different ways, or like we stay in contact, we're best friends, or we take care of each other's kids, or blah blah blah. There's all these deep rooted connections, this fabric, like I said, because I don't want to get rid of that, because because people wise and human wise, they're amazing people, and we definitely have opposite beliefs and views on everything, and they don't understand the things that I'm saying in lyrics or whatever, or they don't understand how I could see this way, or how I could not support this thing that they support, or whatever, or vice versa. But we love each other. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of the bottom line. And that's like the simplest way to put like how I believe still, no matter what deconstruction or backsliding or whatever happens in my massive career of Christianity or whatever, it's like, who is Jesus to me? Who is Jesus to you? Or you don't believe? Whatever. Let's talk about whatever, I'm still not, you're still going to be my friend, or a human being sitting next to me in my kitchen or whatever, I don't hate you. There's only, it could be so simple. It could all be so simple, but people make it hard,
Too hard. I don't
Why?
understand. I don't understand it.
Mm-mm.
And I always try to, think about myself as like someone who can try to understand everyone else's perspective.
Mhm.
But that's one perspective I just don't understand. Like why hate someone, or why even like ignore someone?
Well, it's even as simple as in the one small piece of this whole jigsaw puzzle of the music scene is like, oh my gosh, those guys were smoking out by the dumpsters after their show
How
at a
dare
church, like, or just like that's like, the Bible doesn't say anything about smoking, like there's all these like, like I said, cherry picked, or like assumptions, or
You think that burning bush was?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. There's weed in Genesis. But anyways, politics, religion, we covered it all. Furnace Fest next. But
Well, I do have one other question real quick. So
Yeah,
I grew up in the restaurant world.
Yeah, man.
And I know how much time and effort goes into running the logistics and the prep and the actual serving of food. How do you do it all? Like, for real, how do you do it all? Like, you have so much energy right now, and you're just looking healthy and happy. And if it was me right now, I'd be dragging ass to bed.
I mean, I told you it's pickleball, baby. Just kidding. Um,
Pickleball's code word for something else, I think.
to be honest, it's um, like I said, it's I think it's still something I have fun doing, and I can really tie all the cooking and stuff that I do, all the chef life and the chef community in San Diego and Southern California is very closely related to the music scene and the punk rock life and stuff like that. They're very not just intertwined, but I mean, people come from the punk world and go into chef world and vice versa all the
Mhm.
time down here, or coffee or distilleries or whatever. And I think it's because a lot of times it might have to do with a little bit of ADD, a little bit of ADHD, depending on your prognosis. But it's like our brains work that way. It's like you wake up and be like, oh, I don't want to go to work, and then once you're at work or whatever, or you're in the kitchen, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff I could be doing and creating. Whether that's, I mean, that's in the kitchen, and then on the other hand, if music, it's like journaling, poetry, making music, writing music, talking to your music friends or whatever. Those two are very synonymous, or very, or no, not synonymous, congruent. Um, and I think that it works really well for me personally because I do have all this energy and I need somewhere to put that.
Mm.
When I go into a kitchen at 5 in the morning, or if it's a 5 in the morning shift, I'm sometimes I just need silence to kind of like um, wake up and do stuff. But then in the thought world or the spiritual realm, the thoughts kind of start coming out of my system and into the air, and there's just thoughts everywhere. There's like this, everything's everywhere. So I need to put on something crazy to kind of like focus. I need to put on something wild in the morning that'll let me like hear the song, and that'll all the thoughts can kind of like go into that speaker, and then I can like focus on prep lists, ordering, scheduling, cost of goods, stuff like that. So thank you, End It. Thank you, Weekend Nachos, for doing your thing. And I'm gonna move on to the next task until my next staff member comes in. Or if I'm the last person in the kitchen, I'm alone with my thoughts. I should really put music on so I can get more work done.
Mm. Do you prefer working with people, or do you prefer working alone more as a
Well,
chef?
I think working with people is really good for me too, because um they can laugh at my jokes. I can make puns, and then but also the team has different questions about different things, because at our company we're doing boutique catering or whatever, so there's like a lot of different little events with custom menus and stuff like that. So
Mm.
there's a lot of details, which is actually kind of hard for me, but I can rely on other team members to work out the details of different things, and they can rely on me for like ordering the right amount of fish or whatever. And then also, if they get stuck on, oh, we're tired of our music playlist, can you think of anything? Yes, I have a lot of music to offer you. Yeah. Here, check this out. Here's something. Here, check that. Here, Touche Roy wrote a whole album about his mom dying. Here, check this out. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
love it.
There's lots of good choices.
So I've never been like in the professional restaurant industry. However,
It's not too late.
well, it might kill me. But however, I have for the last like 5 or 6 years really dabbled in the home cook world, and
Mm.
like Cullen knows this. A lot of other people that know me well know that I love cooking now. Like that's a whole part of my
Awesome.
identity at this point. And Cullen has been cooking his whole life, and he's an incredible cook.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. But what I will say,
Culinary.
there's like two things primarily that I've noticed in my own like cooking life, and I'd love to hear from you like what those two, maybe like one or two things are. But
Okay.
there's two things that like give me the rush of endorphins.
Hmm.
One of which is putting a dish on the table for a group of people,
Hmm.
and the presentation, and then they start digging into the dish itself, and they just like, it's basically like a, oh fuck,
Hmm.
kind of like reaction. like that just
Oh,
sends
so
a,
you're
like a
good.
rush of
So you're
endorphins,
good.
right?
He's
Like
very
that
good.
is
He's very
that's
good.
like that's like a good like that doesn't obviously happen with every dish. Clearly does not happen.
Yes, it
But
does.
every now and then I'm able to like figure out a dish that's like
Mhm.
that's the reaction is like, oh fuck, this is so good. Like I need this again.
For
And
example,
that what's that?
for example.
I mean, nothing that like there's nothing new that I make, but it's just like a really good like carnita or something like that, right?
Mhm.
You're just like you make a really good carnita and nobody's ever had like a people that I grew up with or whatever, like they haven't had a really good like homemade carnita or something like that,
Nice.
right?
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
like really good butter chicken or whatever it is. Like it just can be anything. But they're just like, oh my god, I need that again. Like even my very Midwestern family that doesn't even know what salt is, I made them shishuka a few months ago and they were
Mm.
like, please make this again.
Okay. Yeah.
And even like they have no refined taste in anything at all, but they're even like,
It's
oh,
a lot
I
of
need that
flavor.
again,
Yeah, that's a lot of
right? Like they
flavor.
just like I need shishuka again. So though that's one example of an endorphin rush for me is when I make something, typically like a dish that I haven't created myself. It's just
Yeah.
like it's a like a classic version that I'm making of something, and they're just
Hmm.
like, I need that again. The second one is when I'm able to like, I just like look at my fridge and I look at my cabinet and I just am like, I have nothing going on here. Like I would either have to like buy a bunch of new like items or whatever, and then I just like I look at what I have available
Hmm.
and I just like figure out based on like, all right, I know this technique and
Yeah.
I know that this like ingredient will balance well with this ingredient and yada yada yada, right? Like you kind of figure it out and then all of a sudden you just like throw some stuff together
Hmm.
and it turns out great. That's like the other endorphin rush for me. Even if it doesn't impress other people, the fact that I'm able to put together like a
It's for
bunch of
me.
things
Yeah.
that you wouldn't assume would go together, but you
Right.
just like know flavor profiles and how flavors balance
Yeah.
each other and how techniques work. You just like figure that out and all of a sudden you create something new based on just like whatever availability you have in your fridge and your pantry.
Hmm.
Like that's a like a cool moment for me too, is when that
Yeah.
happens. And
Yeah.
so anyway, those are like the two moments in my like cooking experience where that like gives me the rush of endorphins. I'm curious, like for you, like what have you experienced as like, oh my god, like that's what's like giving me the boost to keep doing this.
Right. I mean, yeah, you it's very akin, and I have the unique blessing. I'm not the only person, but to be able to have done music and put out music and have people hear the music and a handful of people say, I really like that. And now in the food world, I have the same experience, but with food as the art instead of music.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, and we making, there's like 1,000 things on our menu, but also sometimes the funnest things to make are not on the menu, right? I'm tired of making the same thing for the same bridal party every single week or whatever. So here I want to try something new, and I often challenge my chefs to do the same thing. Use we try to change it up because there's always like new produce and stuff like that, new different fruits that are seasonal or fish that's seasonal or whatever. But I have fun doing that same thing, even if it's something as simple as, oh my gosh, I just made this hot sauce this last week that was out of this world. Here, try it. And then having my other chefs go, oh my gosh, that's the best sauce I've ever had. Or how did you do that? Like,
Mhm.
because we're so used to making the same thing. It could be the same rote experience of the same class every day or the same music song or music writing every day, or and we get into whatever industry, just over and over again, same thing. But oh my gosh, you put this one little 1% new thing and it just sparks joy and imagination, and you remember why you do it.
Mm.
If you tell somebody about, or I mean, even on the human level, what we were just talking about with, you know, the questioning and the challenging and the theology, is like you meet another person that has maybe the same percentage of experience, or oh my gosh, that totally relates to me.
Mm.
So that brings you into their experience also, and then that collaborative experience multiplies. I was telling Matt this. I was t- blah, blah, blah. I was telling Matt Carter. He's like, "How does it work with you when you do like a food and music pairing?" And I said, for the easiest example is I pick a song that pairs with this dish because one time in Ensenada I had the best fish taco of my life. And then I was driving home and I heard this song, and now I have that song always related to that fish taco, right? So that's your experience with that food. And then now I put a beverage pairing on that. I'm going to pair this fish taco with this michelada, with this Mexican lager made by this local craft brewery. And now those three things are put together because I give you an experience that stimulated more than just one sense, right? It's more than just your ears or your smell or your taste or your eyes or whatever, or your touch. You're sitting next to somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, or whatever. If you can stimulate more than one sense. So it's like, if I'm just, for example, the last hot sauce I made was just yesterday, was like Persian cucumber and golden raisin and serrano peppers blended into a hot sauce, right? Right. So that was a fresh one. There's no fermenting, there's no cooking, just raw ingredients blended. And then I let it sit for a day, and then we tasted it the next day, and I served it at lunch today to my chef team. And they're like, what the hell is this? What is this sauce? And I've never had anything like that. I can taste the cucumbers. Did you put golden raisins in this? Wow. So we have this like experience together where they're like having fun with it. So that adds another element to it. So it's fun.
What was the color of it?
Green, just all green.
So the cucumber kind of takes over the golden raisin.
And
the golden raisins more for like, I use golden raisins as like a binder and a sweetener because they're like, gummy and thick.
What was the pepper? Is Serrano, you said?
Serranos, yeah. So bright green.
Oh yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, so the sauce is totally bright green. But they're like, I've never had anything like this because it has a hint of sweetness. It's very spicy because it's totally raw. There's nothing cooked out, and the cucumbers just add like this coolness. It's almost like a spicy gazpacho or something.
Yeah.
So it adds an element of fun and curiosity to it. Like when you put your plate down in front of someone, even if it's Cullen, somebody or a new guest at a restaurant or whatever, you're going to experience that feeling because they're experiencing that feeling. Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for them to try it. Oh my gosh. And then you put it down, and then you see their eyes, just like in Ratatouille, when the food critic tastes the Ratatouille and he drops his fork. It's like you're bringing them to a place. You're taking him back to a place of his childhood, or I'm bringing you to my place of, here's this dude. I heard this like punk song by this Mexican punk band when we went to this carne asada party when we played in Mexico, and they gave me the best food of my life. And I don't know what it was, but I'm going to try to emulate that here for you. I'm giving this to you. I'm giving you this experience. We're sharing this. And that's kind of what I tried to do with the music. Not everybody got it because maybe I was too in my head, too artistic about it.
No, I love the food and music pairing.
But even I appreciate that. I mean, but I was thinking, like, even with my stuff that I had recorded with the band, like when I would try to get too heady or like too in my own questions about like, God, where are you? Or like, hey world, hey, look at all these homeless people in the street. How can we help them at the church or whatever? In a punk song that's 2 minutes long or whatever. Yeah. How do we answer these questions or whatever, or ask these questions without being tread upon? So I think that's still what I kind of try to do in the chef world. And I'm now with the food and music pairings at the podcast, I'm trying to take it to the festival level at Furnace Fest and do Furnace Feast.
Hell yeah.
Furnace Feast. So I've been talking to them. There's a lot of people in the food industry that I know who are going.
Yeah.
Who are feels like half the people at the Furnace Fest festival are the like, whether they're like in the bartender world or restaurant world. I mean, they're just
exactly.
There's some sort of like food industry world that almost everybody seems to be in.
It's true. And I know in particular, I know some people from San Diego and Southern California who are in the food world who are going as fans. They might bring food stuff now that I've told them this idea. Either maybe after Sunday night or maybe even the day after. I don't even know, but like just something to bring food and music together, because I know there's already food there. I know there's already a brewery behind one of the stages or whatever. So like, let's do it together because everyone there's hungry and thirsty. Why not? There's already foods or beverage sponsors. So let's make something happen. I told them, I said, it can be as easy or as elaborate as you want to get. I'm choosing easy. But we can do like cocktails. We can do NA beverages. We can do all kinds of stuff. And we can do like an emo night kind of playlist, whatever, let's have fun. People are there. People spent money to have fun. maybe not every single person at Furnace Fest likes the headliner that night. Let's get crazy, you know?
Mhm.
So why not? Why not?
I love
I
it.
was gonna ask, like, knowing your background with food, music, all of this stuff. I mean, it's just like it feels like a great place to go to Birmingham, Alabama,
Mhm,
as
mhm.
Josh Kemble, and experiment with this music that you grew up with and love and were a part of that scene, and
Mhm.
also to pair that with a bunch of people that like a lot of those people who have been in the food industry and who love food. Let's just be honest. Like a lot of Furnace Fest
Yeah.
people, especially if you get like meat protein in there, gonna be a whole slew of Furnace Fest people are gonna be like all about that meat protein shit.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's like it just feels like a great perfect pairing.
Well, I don't see why it wouldn't or shouldn't happen. My only concern is that I'm not going to be there the whole weekend because I'm actually working a little bit on Friday and Saturday, so I'm going to come after. So it has to be like later in the festival. But like you said, everyone there, I think everyone there wants it. They just don't know that they want it. It's that
That's
kind of
right.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like there's food there, there's trucks there, there's drinks or whatever. But it's like let's really like let's throw a party. It's also, I mean, let's be honest, it's the last or so they say, it's the last Furnace Fest. So let's
Yeah.
throw a huge dude, let me curate this for you. So they're kind of
Just
on
like
board. Somebody's on board, like we're getting balls rolling. There's balls rolling, you know?
It's always good when balls are rolling.
Yeah, I love it.
there'll be
And
a lot of balls rolling at
there's
Furnace
gonna be a
Fest. I can
lot of
assure you
balls
that.
rolling, yeah.
It's
So the
mostly balls.
right now
Well,
the balls are rolling. They're in place. They're rolling, and yeah, balls are rolling.
So
Mason jar.
is this going to be like in lieu of the headliner, or is this going to be
No, no, no.
after the
After,
festival? Okay.
after. So it'll probably, you know, well, the idea is that it won't interfere with anything at the festival.
Okay.
So like if somebody's selling a food at the festival, they'll still do that. This is
Sure.
like a separate kind of thing. But
Okay.
but you can't get away from the name Furnace Feast.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I have to
it's
trademark that.
perfect.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You got a shirt to sell too.
And I got, so I got like, I'm talking to like people who make, ingredients for cocktails and people who make hot sauces and people who are brewing in Alabama. So I'm
Mhm.
definitely getting the tentacles out there, but like, and then doing food puns and food drink puns based on the bands, right? So Furnace Feast is already the major pun, and there's a sub puns. There's a list of sub puns.
All right, give us one.
I don't know. I mean, think of how many bands are playing, and then like when I went on,
Yeah.
I went on Mike Herrera's podcast, and I gave him like 100 food puns based on his songs. So like, you know what I mean? So like, there's so many you could base it on the artist or the songs or something. Like you take the most popular album
Yeah.
and you say,
Yeah.
like,
So like at Furnace Fest, give us one food based pun for a band that you're or a song from a band that's gonna be playing there.
well, somebody gave me an idea for a Dogwood.
Okay.
If I can find a meadery out there in Birmingham and do Dogwood building a better mead.
Oh, I like it.
So I was like, okay, I don't have any control over that, but I could research that, so that'd be something.
Yeah.
For example, or like I know Soothsayer Hot Sauce does something with Poison the Well. They have a song called Botchla. Their hot sauce is Hotchla, right?
Sure.
So those things are already happening. These things are already in place, right? These balls have already rolled into place.
I love it.
So like who's there? Like what? Like August Burns Red.
Sure.
Mhm.
Kind of play on enchiladas with red sauce. August Burns Red, Bob, red sauce.
Mhm.
Or drink wise, there's what the maybe Blindside, something with like a South Sider, like some kind of like it's
Sure.
something with the name. Take the name of the group who's already playing it, but or you find like it just depends on because if the band is gone, if they played on Friday and they're gone by Sunday night or whatever, it's like maybe that band doesn't have any participation in the festival or in the festival. I mean,
The Feastable.
yeah. But if we did like the Black Sheep podcast, I would maybe do like a sheep dish, like a sheep meat
Ooh.
dish. Yeah.
Some chislick.
Yes, or some mutton or whatever, like we actually do a lot of lamb and stuff like that. I know they're just separate animals, but so it would be something based on like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's who's your favorite band playing, Cullen, at the festival?
Blindside is.
Oh, it's funny. I should mention.
Yeah.
So, or you could do a side of like a blind side of beef, or like like
Oh,
stuff.
a blind side of beef. Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. That's good.
So I was talking to Schwab about the new, he did like 2 Project 86 albums, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna talk about, I want to do a food thing with you because he's a huge foodie, and I took all of his titles and I made like 3-dish titles based on each song of his things or whatever. He's like, oh my gosh, it's probably, oh my god,
That was a really good Andrew Schwab impression.
So stuff like that. So it's basically like, who wants to participate? What's your most popular song? Let's make fun of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not let's have fun with it. It's like let's make fun of it.
Yeah.
And make a menu item out of it. Because it's really the fans who would love it, right? It's like, oh my gosh, it's so fun. I get it. Building a better meat. Oh my gosh, or whatever.
Yeah. Or you could do like more than kumquats.
I mean, it can be done. It can be done. Except by the time we get there in October, kumquats might be out of season in that area.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Speaking of which, it's going to be the More Than Conquerors lineup, right? That's going to be playing.
Yes. So my guys are so funny. The Furnace Fest announced, I think, one of the San Diego bands, they announced like either Nonus and Victim or Noise Ratchet.
Mhm.
Those are our homies because they're from San Diego. And Sean, our guitar player for a long time, reached out to us like on a group text. He's like, why aren't we playing this? He's like, all of our friends are playing this. They're like, why aren't we on? I was like, oh, I mean, they asked us. I just thought you didn't maybe want to do it. He's like, no, we should do it. And everyone's like, I'm in. I'm 100% in. Let's do it. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll reach back out to chat or whatever,
That's really cool.
So I was like, hey, I guess everyone wants to do it. And they're like, yeah, let's make something happen.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of, they all wanted to do it. So we did it. So we're going to do some merch drops, maybe doing like an online store, and then maybe some food collabs, maybe a coffee, a hot sauce, fun stuff, socks, whatever. Because I mean, we're not a headliner, but like we're going to be there, and I'm going to be doing this Furnace Feast. So like,
yeah,
let's have fun.
I thought I might have picked up on some hints from not just one person, but a couple people that some vinyl might be in the works as well.
Man, there's been vinyl in the works for like 20 years, baby. 20 years. I think I could see it happening. There's I mean, if you're talking about Jason, we've always been talking about doing something. And I think now would be a good time to do it. We just have to decide like what's the best thing to do, because we have
That's a good
kind
question.
of a lot to offer. I was like, okay, well, here's a couple options. It is the 25th year anniversary of More Than Conquerors, and we'll probably be playing a lot of songs or from that in the set from that album, or a good ratio on the set, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not going to be playing for 3 hours. We got to cram it all into our set time, whatever that is, and then or our most beloved album is Building a Better Me, or even though it's funny because most of the hits that we play are from More Than Conquerors or whatever in general, but then Building a Better Me is like the most beloved album. I think it's because of an album as a whole, maybe because the artwork and the Simpsons and all the stories. So it's kind of maybe those two might be, because he was talking about like best of. I was like, we did a best of or playlist. I don't know. It's hard to pick because you only get one chance.
Right.
But then there's other labels that have reached out and said, hey, we want to repress like old stuff, like before 2000. I was like, oh,
dang,
now you're getting crazy. Or the live album. Or I was like, man, if I go, you do it. You just show me, just send it to the festival and have it on our tail. I don't care. If you want to do it, do it. And because I don't because also I have to, if I have all that stuff there and we don't sell it, I have to bring all that stuff home.
Right. And you've already got too many irons in the fire.
I have to, what am I going to keep this in my kitchen?
I promise you it would sell out. You just do a limited run. I guarantee you it's.
Oh yeah. It's not going to, it's going to be small amounts, but like I said, like we're playing, one set, and we're not going to be there for the whole festival. So it's like, it has to be like, we have to sell all this stuff.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. We have to get rid of it. Not get rid of it, but like, I want everyone who is coming to get the stuff too. So like, you have to, it's a balance. Like, do I make 10 things? Do I make 1,000 things? I don't even know. I don't even know how many people are at Furnace Fest.
Good question. I don't know how many people are there either. I'm surprised they never did release like a total attendance.
I feel
or
like this
whatever.
year is going to be the biggest year, right? Like that
I
feels.
feel like it should be.
Kind of has to be, right? Yeah.
Well, it
And
kind
I
of
think the
has to be.
largest year, I don't know if it was last year, maybe it was the year before, but the largest year was like 12,000, something like that.
Okay, that's quite a bit.
Mhm.
So 12,000 pairs of socks.
Yep.
Got it.
Hey, you just got to get 1/12 of the people to buy something. You're good to go.
100%.
Yeah.
There
Okay,
you
so
go.
that's good to know. But yeah, so lots of fun stuff in the works, and it's just gonna be good to see all I told Chad, I was like, you got to have a San Diego stage. You just got to have pull all the bands off the roster, all the San Diego bands, and make it their own
Awesome.
stage. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Noise Ratchet, POD, No Innocent Victim, Noise Ratchet. Yeah, so the undertakings, just too many.
Yeah.
I do have a confession to make.
Go.
So for a moment, I was sort of like checked out for a second. If you guys didn't notice,
I
the
did.
reason why though,
I did.
for a good reason. So you were talking about Furnace Feast, and you're like, "Hey, it might happen after the festival." I looked at my flight and realized, at least right now, my flight is booked, literally like out, basically like early morning from Atlanta, on Monday morning, and I was like, if I want to do Furnace Feast, there's no way that's gonna happen. So I literally just as we were talking, I'm like, I gotta rebook. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way I'm gonna
Okay. Yeah.
remember this
You're
before.
smart.
So
This is why
I
he has 2
just
degrees.
rebooked. I was able to rebook without having to pay any extra fees. So I just rebooked.
Wow.
Now I'm gonna be leaving out of Atlanta on Tuesday. So
Now it
if
has
you
to
are
happen.
able to do Furnace Feast on either that Sunday or that Monday, I'll be around now.
Okay. I mean, this might be just the Scorpio in me, but like, why not? You
Right.
know? Why not do it? It's the last chance to do it.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like how we would be stupid not to do it. And
I agree.
I'll take that to my grave. You would be stupid not to do it, Furnace Fest. So, but also I've been so they put me in touch with like work play or something like that, like around Birmingham.
That's Johnny's thing.
Okay, yeah. So like they're into it. They're into the idea. So I'm like, let's talk, let's make it happen. I mean, it's a long ways from now, but like,
It's not that long.
don't scare me.
It
Don't scare me like that.
Everything comes up quick, man.
It's like
Everything comes up
Christmas.
quick.
It's like Christmas. 67 weeks till Christmas. Or whatever. But yeah, so I'll be there. Because I was gonna go. I was gonna go regardless. I was gonna fly out for the festival without the band playing. Because like so many good bands playing. I was gonna jump on stage. I'm gonna be probably doing some singing with some of the bands on stage and stuff. So it's gonna be a good time to go. Because also when we were touring actively and Furnace Fest was active, we were always going opposite directions. Well, I mean, Furnace Fest was not moving; it was always there. We were going the other way, because it was at our touring cycle. So we never really got to.
You're just going back home.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Sometimes this is the way things go. It is time to get into the guilty pleasures of Joshua.
I thought you were going to talk about the Olympics.
That's coming up too. Got to do the trials first, but
sure. Okay.
Let's talk about your guilty pleasures here. You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Go.
All right. Go ahead.
Guilty pleasures. Smoking crack. No. Are you talking about music?
Music. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't say.
Man, smoking crack.
No, I didn't say that.
I knew exactly.
I thought it was heroin, but
smoking
I mean,
meats.
if crack's your thing,
smoking meats.
Meat cracks.
I'm a closet case vegan. So let's see. Music wise, I think if you saw me or like knew that I was in Dogwood or punk rocker, activist,
yeah, and I would
or whatever.
assume smoking crack is your top guilty pleasure.
1,000%. 1,000%. That's where I come from, right? But I do like I have in my vinyl collection. I have a good collection of like dub and reggae.
Oh,
So stuff like that. So when if I go spin records at somebody's place and they ask me to bring music, I bring a lot of. I pepper in punk and hardcore because it doesn't always work at a coffee shop to play like Champion or Battery or whatever, they're screaming at someone while they're trying to buy like a Palo Santo latte, or whatever. So I have a lot of really cool, like maybe some rare records that are actually coming from Jamaica or Mexico has a lot of crazy.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think a guilty pleasure, if you saw me and I'm wearing my Rocket from the Crypt shirt and whatever, like it's like, oh, this guy, he goes to the dive bar and listens to the Clash and stuff. But that's like, I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure. I think it's good music, but I don't think you would assume that about me, that I listen to that music or whatever,
Yeah,
So
it's a good call.
so if I'm in the kitchen and I'm they're like, you put something on, chef. I'm like, okay. And I'll put on like something like rock steady music like that. Like, it has a good flow to it. You don't want to put on mellow reggae, like kind of like too Bob Marley-ish or
Yeah.
whatever, because
Can't lay it back too much. Yeah.
no, they get slow. They start to like get tired. You have to keep upbeat. So like the actual like two-tone ska stuff.
Mhm.
And so, because when I tell people ska, sometimes they're like, "Oh, you like Real Big Fish?" And I'm like, "No, sure, but what, like, that's not what I'm really like putting on, like, So, so that's one. Oh
Yeah.
man, I don't want to have so many guilty pleasures. This is scary. This is embarrassing. Um, and then I think I also have in that collection, I also have stuff like, you know, like I don't know what the genre would be. Maybe like, I don't even know if I guess it's R&B or smooth R&B, smooth
Ooh.
soul. But like George Benson, like that kind of, like, if you put
Oh,
on
hell yeah.
Jimmy McGriff, George Benson radio on your streaming, you'll get really good songs that you didn't know that you knew, but you know the
Mhm.
songs. Like
Totally.
maybe because your parents were in the
Because you were
medical.
conceived by them.
I was gonna say, because your parents were having sex.
I was gonna say because your parents work in a dentist office or a medical office, but sure. Yeah. I mean, hey, it's biblical. Christians be fucking, you know. Um, but yeah, so stuff like that is like, you can hear, because when you play those songs, that you can hear where other people took samples from, influences
Yeah.
from,
That's one of my
like,
favorite things to do.
dude, like stuff like, so it's like George Benson, Boz Scaggs, like those kind of stuff. Like all the hip hop artists have sampled from them,
Yeah.
and people don't give those artists necessarily the credit
Yeah.
but everyone's sampling from those artists,
Yeah.
Luther Vandross, like all this stuff. So like,
Lobby Cifre. I don't know if that's exactly how you say his name. He's got the song that oh, now I'm forgetting. Snoop Dogg
mhm.
sampled it. Snoop Dogg, yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's just George Clinton.
yeah.
Now I'm getting to my songs messed up. Anyways,
I know what
Lobby
you're saying, though.
Cifre.
Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
it's an Eminem song that was sampled from it. It's one of the greatest songs I've ever heard. And now I'm forgetting the name of it. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, we'll put it on the post production.
Yeah, we will. Oh my gosh, I got the ...
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, great song through and
Mhm.
through.
Good sample. Good
Yeah.
sample. And I think that another, I would call it guilty pleasure, because I listen to it like a lot, is I um well, it's not I wouldn't even admit this as a guilty pleasure, but like, I think my first CD that I bought with my own money, a compact disc, if you remember
This is
those.
usually a guilty pleasure. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, and it was actually Boys to Men,
Yeah, that is what I'm talking about.
because I heard a song and I was like, well, because they had cred, they had street cred from all the rap guys, from like the Philly guys, from like
Yeah,
Velvet DeVoe and all those guys. But the guys in the band, when you listen to the record, they're incredible singers.
100%.
So this is before they got really, really big, had songs on the radio and stuff like that. So like, I bought Boys to Men, and the second one the same day. I bought them on the same day, but the first one I actually bought was the Boys to Men, and I also bought Offspring Smash, right? So,
What
but
a combo.
so those are a combo. It's a combo 3 and 4 guilty pleasure,
Oh yeah.
because Offspring kind of slowly went into like trash territory for
Oh,
me.
100%. Yeah, they rode that line very,
So
very hard.
I started seeing Offspring on like snowboarding videos. I was like, I'm all in. I'm all in. Everyone said my voice sounded like that, like super high pitched, and like our band was like, drop D octaves and like blah blah blah. And then I so Ignition and Smash, and then I think maybe fell off right after that. But I bought those on the same day. Um because my dad was like a crooked guy, and he had stolen a CD Discman for me for my birthday. Here you go, kid. You know. So I had to get CDs to play on it because I had all cassettes. So I got CDs. So Boyz II Men, and but if you actually take the time and listen to the Boyz II Men, what's it called? Is it called Motown Philly or something like that? It's their first record.
Mhm.
They're just super, super incredible singers, and I could never emulate. I could never sing that good. And I was
Mm.
always jealous of that. Like, how do they sing so good? Oh my gosh. And I read Questlove's book, and he knows those guys, and he kind of talks about them in the book. And he found them, they would just practice every day in the bathroom at high school
Wow.
because the acoustics in there were amazing. Right. So anyways, tangent tidbit.
That's
Um,
cool.
so that's a combo guilty pleasure. That's a combo.
right,
You
all right.
haven't had a combo yet.
We have had a couple, but I do
Okay.
like how you made like double guns there. That was pretty
Yeah.
pretty gangster of you.
Yeah. I was trying to make fabric. Anyways, and then guilt, and then I don't know. And again, I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure, but I actually really like the old, like kind of Disney soundtrack records, like
Oh, that is the quintessential guilty pleasure. I love it.
is that
Like,
a good or bad?
How
I
old
don't
are we
That's
talking?
good.
Like
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 O-
like
like
90s
OG.
Disney,
No.
70s, 60s.
No,
Like
no,
Song of the South
well,
kind of stuff.
no, never that. But I know the songs. I'm not gonna lie. I know
By heart every
I know
night.
every single like old Disney song, like before I would say pre Little Mermaid, like
Okay.
that era. So pre that. So after that, whatever. I know the big hits like Phil Collins and whatever. But
Sure.
like the vinyl, the little books that came with vinyl, like turn the
Snow White.
page, Snow White. So like stuff like that. But like I always thought, oh my gosh, these songs are incredible. Like The Haunted Mansion or like Fantasia or like
Dude.
Sleeping Beauty. Like and I know those songs by heart. Oh, Mary Poppins, because we were poor and we had VHS tapes, and my dad would record 3 movies on one tape, and but we only had 4 tapes, so I memorized like 12 movies because that's all we had. And so I knew all the songs. I knew Back to the Future and Super Bowl whatever and Mary Poppins because they were all on one tape. And I feel like now a guilty pleasure is knowing musicals and Disney stuff like that, because they used to have full orchestras just for like 3-minute cartoons, and I was always entrenched and enchanted by that, which is a total Disney word.
Great. I was gonna say great choice of words. That's awesome. No, that's a great list, I think.
I'm so guilty right now.
And everyone's judging you
on 34
guilty
counts.
As Trump with
I was gonna say
34 counts.
We had to mention it, didn't we? Negroni to that.
All right, Josh, what would you like to plug?
Besides you two gay lovers, just kidding. Edit that.
That's not edited at all.
Yeah,
We'll
that's staying in
take
for
that.
sure.
HM. I think that, I guess if people don't know me from, previous to this, it would be cool to maybe follow my podcast that I do, the Family Cast, because it's food and music pairings in general on a regular basis.
And you get more of Josh's wonderful voice just talking at you
on a very special. And then I think that maybe
and sometimes he even like doesn't realize he's recording, and all of a sudden he's just like, "Hey, baby, I haven't seen
he's
you
talking
for a
to his
while."
microphone.
He's just talking to his microphone.
Not into it, but to it.
Around it. I think that I just recently, and I should have done this a long time ago, but I built a Dogwood Instagram page.
Nice.
Dogwood Punk. And because we announced that we were playing Furnace Fest. And so I've been putting stuff on there, like memories, and people have been like,
we saw a thing about that where it was like Dogwood, and then like one of the first follows was Furnace Fest from the Dogwood account, and people were like starting.
They
to post,
blew
like,
it.
Rumors
they blew it.
That's why we were immediately.
And I think that's actually where I screenshotted that, like, that you guys just started this Instagram account, and one of the first follows was Furnace Fest, and I sent that screenshot to Cullen. I was like, "Hey, by the way, it sounds like this might be a thing."
We were in the same room.
Y'all are detectives.
Yeah. And we immediately texted you because
Oh, okay. So it was
Yeah.
okay.
we
So
were
that makes
actually
sense.
we were actually down watching POD when that happened
Oh, funny.
in Sioux City.
I love them.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. That was a fun show. That was a fun tour they just did. And yeah. Let's see. So Dogwood Punk. Yeah. What we talk sometimes we talk about POD on there, whatever. But mainly it's memories and talking about, Furnace Fest and whatever. So that's the thing. What I mean, I don't really know. Those are the kind of places I hang out on, is like the Family Cast page, my own page, whatever. But really just I'll be, I guess, releasing songs with other people as soon as they put them out. I did my part, waiting for them.
Oh yeah.
So there's like songs and records coming out with my voice on it and stuff like that. But yeah.
I love that
And
you're
then-
like a sexy voice gun for hire like that, you know? That's good.
I'm like, can I do I got 500? Do I got 600? Yeah, sold.
To the undertaking.
Oh yeah. No, Austin gets it for free. But no, those are super chill dudes. And it was just rad to see them, playing at a sold out show with Seosin, because I've known, all those guys, they were all kids when I met them, through Dogwood.
Yeah.
As coming to shows. So now they're like out there selling out places. It's really cool to see that, because I feel like we passed the torch to the next generation of bands that could do this thing and do it better, because we didn't know what we were doing, and now they have all these opportunities to do it. So like, this is so awesome. And those bands will be at Furnace Fest. So another band for the San Diego stage, Seosin,
I
So-
really hope that Austin Visser and all the other guys from the band, Mercury and all those guys, I hope that they started off listening to this and are like, oh my gosh, talking about this, and then they fast forwarded to just that moment
like
ago.
they're still
They're
talking
still
about it.
talking about us. Did they just talk
Yeah.
about
So
us
guys,
being
if you didn't listen to the middle, all we've talked about is the undertaking.
yeah.
So I would, if I did an undertaking food, I would probably do a cookie, almost like cook for 1 minute, and be the underbaking.
Okay, maybe maybe I
Stop
brought
there.
this,
Just stop
maybe
there.
I brought this up last time, but I can't remember if I did. Do you have a problem with calling cookies
Instead of bakies.
Yeah,
Because
they're baked, not cooked.
I mean, now I
How
do.
British are you?
Now I do. Instead of crisps or something. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that cookies. I mean, no, I don't have a problem with it, but I will if you want to fight. We can make some comments about it.
I just want someone to believe the same way as I do, because I think that's I don't like that. It makes me
Cookies.
uncomfortable.
Cookies.
There should be bakies.
We can start a petition.
Honestly, bakies is a cuter word too.
It's a really cute word. Honestly, this is a super cute conversation.
Yeah.
Bakies.
That needs to be our revolution. Like
Hashtag bakies.
fuck all the other revolutions.
I think the problem here's the thing, kids. I think the problem with calling it bakies is now that there's a CBD shop every 4 buildings, that it just sounds like edibles. Which actually might be a good name for
maybe they all should be edibles.
Maybe they're gonna have them at Furnace Feast. Who knows?
Maybe. I like it.
Come get your bakies.
I mean, if Furnace Feast is just meant to be THC consumption, that's just called Furnace Fest.
I didn't even think about it. Though. I was just more like, who is there with food that I know or drinks, and let's do this.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
bakies.
That's cool.
It almost sounds like something, but the other problem. Here's part 2 about the problem with that, with your idea.
Okay.
It also sounds like something made out of bacon. I'm sorry.
I could see that.
Just
Yeah, it
because
sounds. I mean,
phonics,
actually,
the phonics.
it's funny you say that, because like every once in a while, I'll make like the, like within like the muffin pan, I'll do like the eggs and bacon and
Oh, that little thing?
Yeah, like a little breakfast deal,
like a quiche.
and I call them bakies.
Okay, that's great. I think that's great. I think that is a perfect
But
name for that.
I'm
But-
willing to not call them that anymore too, so that I can have cookies to be changed to bakies.
But here's the problem. Here's the fundamental error in your etymology.
Okay.
Is baking is cooking. Sorry. Next question. No, because when you're baking something, you are doing a form of cooking.
Okay.
That's the only.
I'll take your
new
professional word
molecular
for it.
structure that's being formed.
Yeah, if you want to get all Alton Brownie on it, it's like it's like we're just are we doing
Alton brownies? That's what we should call cookies instead.
I love that.
Hey kids, take an Alton brownie.
Hey, I'm in a fight with him online right now.
Are you really?
I'm in a comments war.
Is he responding back?
No, so it's a one-sided battle.
Has he been convicted for a felony of an armed robbery at one point?
Did you say convicted?
Yes. Get it? It's a baking term. Baking term.
Is he in a conviction of armed robbery?
He was convicted 34 times, you guys.
34. Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's great.
Who
would do that?
That doesn't sound very presidential, does it?
Oh my
the fact you said convicted just got me.
He did. He actually said that. He invented that word. Okay, so
I don't know if we're going to do the other plug. I think we can just go right into
what?
The send-off.
Oh,
this point.
Is there anything else you'd like
divulging at this point?
Oh, you haven't been recording.
Please don't do that.
I just scared him so bad.
Yeah, I know. I could tell. Anything else you'd like to plug, Josh?
Is this like plug? I mean, I gotta admit, in the beginning of the show, we were lying about the undertaking. I sang with them, but I'm not the singer of the band. But I am the singer of Five Iron Frenzy.
What happened to Reese?
Reese? That's just the name that we invented.
Oh, so that's the Paul McCartney type situation. Paul's dead.
Yeah, so I know you talked to Jeff the girl recently, and she's been sworn to secrecy about this.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have this whole time have been the singer of Five Iron Frenzy on record. So they hired this guy to do live shows. Okay. He's like this really good looking white dude, great hair. He's a male nurse. Yeah. And I guess his nickname is like Reese or something like that. But like we invented this name Reese Roper in the factory because like that's a made up name.
Yeah, well, it makes sense.
Who like Roper? Like there's nobody else in the world that has
Reese
that last name, right?
Yeah, Reese Roper. So we invented me and Jeff, the girl, invented this name in the factory of making up names, in the studio, and so I did all the albums, I did all the recordings. So, like you said, hired gun. You said this yourself. And so that's the history. Yeah, 5 Minute Walk Records, the whole thing, Frank Tape, blah blah blah. That's me, and this is exclusive content right here, divulging.
Yeah. And so this would explain your hatred for Real Big Fish.
It comes full circle
because they're competition.
Sell in with me tonight.
Yeah.
They're
just another fish in the pond.
I mean, the pond is filled.
A
the
real
pond
big
is
fish in the
pond. You know
pond.
what? Drain the pond.
Yeah, but not the one at Furnace Fest.
So 500 Frenzy playing at Furnace Fest poses a real problem for me because
it could get exposed, right? Because
Well, this guy's gonna be there. He'll be there.
Seen Reese Roper and Josh Kemble in the same room, but now that's a possibility.
Yeah, you put air quotes on the name Reese Roper because I understand that. I mean, I don't know if people are going to see this video that we're doing right here, but like, yeah, it's a big rigmarole. The royalties get really skewed. It's a real problem, and we're going to solve it this October in the ring, Furnace Fest 24.
Hell yeah, brother!
End of an era. Yeah.
End of an era.
Josh,
if there's not a wrestling ring at Furnace Fest, I'm going to be very upset.
We can make one.
We should. You know how many people at Furnace Fest probably do MMA? I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
You do MMA?
I thought that was just called The Pit.
That'd be a good name for a punk rock jiu-jitsu place or something.
Oh, 100%.
The Pit.
You do MMA?
I have done MMA, not officially, but
I don't know.
I don't do MMA.
I wouldn't tussle with you.
Thank you. You shouldn't tussle with me. Don't. No, there will be no tussling.
So you're telling me that Joe Rogan doesn't know anything about you? We don't speak about Joe's long lost brother John, but Joe doesn't clearly know anything about you since you're not an official MMA guy.
I mean, not in that circle, but like, I mean, MMA has been around for centuries. They just recently, it's been MMA for like maybe the last 20 years. I don't even know, but like we back in the day we used to call it just tussling, street fighting.
It's just
G7.
Meet me in the parking lot. That's what it was called.
See me. I'll see you in the pit. See, knock loose, motherfuckers.
That should be the new MMA slogan: is "Knocked loose, motherfucker."
Oh, black sheep.
All right. Well, Josh.
Well.
Here's the thing.
There's part 2.
3 months, we're gonna see you.
3 months. You were right.
We're gonna give you a big hug. We're gonna feel up your beard, and we're gonna eat your food, and we're probably gonna jam out to your music. So we look forward to seeing you in just a few months. So great to hang out with you. We have to like get you on at some point again. It's so much fun to hang out
live,
even if it's super late for us and super early for you still.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's got to be the best time. It's always gonna be the best time when we hang out.
I can see your scuba diver in person. It's 11:20.
Yes, it's so late. It's so late, but we can't wait to see you in person, and we're gonna see you, whenever we see you online again.
Yeah,
online. Is that like the internet? That thing's still around?
The interwebs.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you, Mason. I agree. We're gonna see you soon.